So, Health Secretary Wes Streeting has hit out at Nigel Farage, calling him a miserablest declinist, a vision of the UK. He made the comments last night during a speech at the left-wing Think event and warned of the need to take the populist right seriously. He also accused the Reform UK leader of not believing in universal health services free at the point of use and having a poverty of ambition for Britain. Well, joining me now, Labour activist Chris Worrall. Chris, thank you very much for joining us. A miserablest declinist? Come on, that's a bit ridiculous, isn't it? Don't you think? How on earth could he say that?
Well, look, Wes Streeting, working class boy done good, has hit the nail on the head, calling Farage out for having a declinist vision for the country. The mission-led Labour government is getting on to turning the country around after 14 years of touring Conservative neglect. We've had more announcements recently about reducing NHS waiting lists, as well as, building the houses that we need and streamlining national infrastructure projects. But it's clear for all to see that Farage just sort of feeds on pessimism like a parasite. And, if Britain's going to thrive, Nigel's going to be out of a job, And I think at the end of the day, his politics is sort of dressed up as patriotism. But all he's ever done is sort of fly the flag of failure and wrap himself in it. I mean, you look at the people he's got around him in Reform. You've got a bunch of failures. Rupert Lowe, a man synonymous with some people's eyes of decline of Southampton, getting them relegated and financial ruin. Richard Tice, he had that fund management ripped off him. He had to sue them though afterwards. Didn't get it back though. And then you've got 30p Lee. I mean, the guy wouldn't be trusted with a shopping list, let alone being put into Whitehall and running a department. The Reform starting 11 are just a bunch of miserable doomsters.
Do you want me to list the Labour Party and start talking about David Lammy, Bridget Phillipson? Listen, we can list a load of people from your side who are pretty bad, but as for being a miserablest declinist, was it not Keir Starmer who stood there on a plinth of integrity saying things will get worse before they get better, and went on about how miserable everything will be and how hard life would be? And is it not Rachel Reeves' economic vision that is currently slow-mo crashing the economy? Let's be honest here. We've got farmers on strike who don't really, they're not striking, they're threatening to strike because they're not happy with the inheritance tax rate, and these are most of the people in this country. So I'm wondering how a politician who seems to have a vision of the UK and has patriotism towards the UK can be seen as a miserablest declinist.
Labour's got a plan for change. They're getting on with that. And at the end of the day, Farage has got bigger problems than continuing just to sell his misery. And as you said earlier, Trump has got a very good relationship with Starmer. Musk is now downplaying any donations to Reform.
Well, that's lucky for Starmer that Trump is in a forgiving mood. Because let's not forget, David Lammy called Donald Trump a neo-Nazi sympathising... Sorry, hold on, I'll finish. Neo-Nazi sympathising sociopath. So I'm hearing all these insults. Peter Mandelson called Trump a danger to the world. If you're saying that Nigel Farage is a miserablest declinist and you're agreeing with it, then what has Labour got to offer?
I'm saying he's got bigger problems than continuing to sell his misery. I wouldn't be surprised if he had a little cry after Musk sort of chinned him off and wanted to have Tommy Robinson running his party. But the bigger problem here is the fact that
he's distanced himself from Tommy Robinson. That's not fair.
He hasn't distanced himself from Musk. He was squirming in that interview just after he made all those comments. Meanwhile, he's given his sort of non-Nazi salute as a little wink and a nudge. And then today he's over with the AFD.
No. There are lots of other people who've done the same sign with their hands.
As an Englishman, my grandparents fought against fascists. He's over there pandering to them. Meanwhile, Elon Musk's dad is telling everyone how the grandparents had Hitler sympathies, raising the hand and all that. And we're all pretending that Musk is in bed with all these guys.
Us blokes hate talking about a little thinning up top, and many of us settle with that balding look, but that wasn't for me. And that's why I went to Elite Hair, the world's leading hair loss clinic, and now I've had over 4,000 new hairs added to this barnet, and very soon I'm going to be rocking some brand new flowing locks. And you can too! So how does it work? Step 1, I sent the team a set of photos of my head. Step 2, I then spoke to one of the Elite Hair staff who looked through my photo submissions and worked out a treatment plan for me. Step 3, Elite Hair then organised accommodation and the treatment. I was at their state-of-the-art treatment centre in Istanbul, and their incredibly kind staff took me through the process, and before I knew it, I was in surgery. Elite Hair and their leading medical experts have specialised in pain-free treatments using the sleep deep method, and they really mean that. I felt incredibly relaxed the whole time, and I haven't felt any pain since. Check out Elite Hair using the link in the description. When you do, Elite Hair will provide you with a free personalised hair analysis. Then you'll join over 100,000 happy patients. Hit that link and start your hair growth journey like I did today.
but
I think Farage got
all I'm getting. All I'm getting from you, Chris, though, is a lot of kind of name calling, which is,
Yeah,
you know,
well,
but that's the problem, isn't it? You're calling
name
for.
calling, is it?
Well, it doesn't seem like the Labour. It doesn't seem like the Labour Party are learning. So now Wes Streeting has jumped in and is calling some. Sorry, let me just get to the point, and then you can absolutely respond. But this is the problem with the Labour Party, isn't it? They spend time name calling constantly, and it comes back to bite them in the behind. So it's not wise, even if he thinks it is true. This is a very unwise strategy. What with Reform looking very good in the polls, to be name calling, it actually reeks of failure.
It's not reeks of failure. It reeks
when you start calling people names.
We're pointing out the fact of what these sort of people he's associating with. But the Labour's got a plan for growth. They've got the missions, the foundations. We're going to kickstart economic growth. There's been, gigafactories, the prisons being announced. We're going to be growing. The forecast for the construction sector this year is going to be a boom. Everyone's waiting for it. We know that the streamlining of these infrastructure projects, allowing us today, they announced with the big plans for growth. This is what we're actually getting on with and delivering, is making sure that our housing sectors, come off of its knees. We've got the lowest approvals on record as a result of Gove's mismanagement. We've got Reform coming up with no ideas. Yeah, they want us, if you can pay for it, he's all done a U-turn on that, as he's talking out two sides of his mouth, Farage on the NHS, and Wes Streeting's right to point it out. The man, Wes Streeting's focused on reducing NHS waiting lists. You know what, if you have a longer than 12-hour wait in A&E, your chance of death doubles, right? We've got 100,000 toddlers that have waited longer than 6 hours in A&E. So we talk about being miserable. We're actually trying to sort out these issues. Meanwhile, Farage is out fluffing, people that like pandering to the AFD. So it's a joke.
Well, okay. I mean, look, if you look at if we look currently at the Labour Party, because you've listed a few things of how things are growing and how, let's be honest here, you've got supermarkets struggling and saying that the farmers' inheritance tax rate. Let me just finish because I'm just responding to what you said, and then you'll have time yourself. But you've got supermarkets closing, some of them not growing because they're saying that this is actually going to hurt them. You've got employers saying that the NI raid is really not going to work because it's shrinking, so it's not creating growth. You've got private schools shutting down at a rate of knots now, currently infiltrating the state system that isn't that great either. And you've got people saying these policies, you've got the markets retracting, saying this is not causing growth. And in fact, growth has shrunk from 0.7%, which is what they inherited, to 0.0, so nothing at all. So again, to me, hearing people name calling doesn't work for me. I'm looking at what they're doing and it's not working, is it? It's not working, is it?
We've got the FTSE 100 at the record level highs. I don't know what sort of people are reading, but supermarkets made record profits. Look at Ocado, record profits. Next, record profits. And we're saying pay a little bit more tax so you can make sure your workers can afford to heat and eat and pay their rent. I mean, at the end of the day, the growth is going to be coming and the market believes it. We've got Securonomics. All of the debt ratio of our economy is predicted to be flat. All those other European countries and America is pointing to be going up. So we've seen it now, despite the global bond market issues, that the UK government is set on a path of prosperity. And we can see that coming through. While all the big corporates and big retail are going to moan about, I've got to pay a little bit more tax after the back of a record profit-making year. Cry me a river, Nana. I'm not going to be taking none of those guys.
Well, good luck with that one, because if everyone leaves this country, and in particular those who have wealth to spread, then unfortunately this country will be going to hell in a handcart. Thank you very much, Chris Worrall. He's a Labour activist. Really good to talk to you. Thank you so much. Well, let's move on. What do you think? gbnews.com/your say. Would love to get your views